Welcome to Behind the Drapes with Expo Rich. And we're here at episode 9, and I'm here with my special guest, Scott Richman, who's the CEO and owner of Nerd Support. And here at Behind the Drapes, what we do is we really take a look into the mind of the entrepreneur and really take a deep dive into the person that they are. And a lot of times we're talking to event entrepreneurs. And this time I wanted to talk to what I like to call the backbone. So Scott's company, Nerd Support, has been supporting Expo for 15 years now?
I think 17.
17. Oh my gosh. So 17 years already. Our IT infrastructure has been based on the brilliance of Nerd Support and keeping us going and keeping us up to pace with all the newest cloud technologies. So I'm a huge fan, obviously, working together 17 years, but I wanted to kind of let people have a better understanding of how the cloud services that you provide and how that plays into the event side and what benefits they are. So we'll get into that in a little bit too, because I do want to talk more. And first, I want you to introduce yourself, and I want to know how you came into your industry.
Okay. Well, it's been 30 plus years I've been in the industry, but really it was a game changer with technology. Worked for a Fortune 500 company, twiddled around computers, and then grew in that space. And what I ended up finding is businesses like you that are growing and thriving don't get all the expertise or the knowledge of having enterprise technology and giving, because every entrepreneur, it's their Fortune 500 company. So I treat every one of my clients as like it's their Fortune 500 company, and leveraging technology where it's affordable and cost affordable for them. And that's been really exciting. The other big factor, I think has been the big factor, is our relationship. I don't think, one of the reasons I think Expo has a lot of success and companies like yours are successful is because they actually go to the experts that they don't know about, and then they have a trusted advisor that helps them. And I have to say, pretty much Expo, every time I've come with you with the recommendations how to advance, you guys have never said no. And then when you've got into stuck points, you've always reached out to us. And that's the most important part, where you have that connection. And the other thing is I think the other thing that's really successful about our company and yours is that we're still connected all the way, for you, all the way to the carpet. Yeah. And I'm connected all the way to the wires in the wall, to the computers and the infrastructure in the cloud. And that connection is what's made a lot of success for us and helping companies like you. But technology is ever changing. And back in the day, we only worried about being able to access the network. Now we need to access it from everywhere. And then we didn't think about anything until now. We have to worry about the security and the integrity of every place that we get the information. And that the next phase of cloud technology, like we spoke about earlier today, the biggest factor is getting all the clouds to talk to each other. Yeah. And be able to help you leverage all that other technologies and not say, okay, I'm only on this type of cloud or this cloud. And how do you get all that and pull that all together and make it in simple terms for you and your team to leverage it to grow? Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely. And, you talk about the history of it, and it is funny. Some remembering back, there was a point where I was on a shared workspace. I would log out, someone else would log back in just to work, and then they would log out and I would log in so we can check our own emails. So we were on shared computers. Yep. And then it was like, okay, we're starting to work with you. The first thing was just getting devices set up and having workstations, and then going in and networking them, and then all of a sudden everybody's communicating, and all the way to today where you can work off your phone. Yep. It's pretty wild. So talking about, besides the IT history, one of the things I always like to talk to entrepreneurs is I like to find out where that drive is, because it's a little different to be an entrepreneur. It's a little different mentality and mindset. And I always like to find out where that came from. Like there's someone in your life, at a young age, or even, into your young adult age, someone that inspired you and said, that's somebody I want to be like, someone I want to do, or someone that motivated you to do your own, create your own company and expand upon yourself. So who's that person that gave you that hustle and drive? I would say my grandfather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's came here and has worked his whole life. And I remember some stories when he was telling me when he had a little diner, how he actually put back then the slot machines were illegal, so they painted the pennies red, and they were just for fun. And how he put those in the diners to drive people to come in. And then he got into like the retail business. And then my father opened restaurants, and he was also an entrepreneur all his life. My sister's an entrepreneur. But the funny thing is one of the things that my grandfather told me. He goes, whatever you're going to do, just make sure you're not doing it because of the money. Because if you're doing it about the money, you will be unsuccessful. Because unfortunately, you're going to be the lowest paid employee for a very long time.
That's very true.
So he goes, but if you're in love with what you're doing and you love the journey, everything else will work out for itself. And that's kind of how I've been.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I've had success. And what it's very exciting is you being a second generation to this business and seeing other companies that we take care of as well having a second generation.
Yeah.
That's even exciting to see how they're innovating and changing the way. Because I remember, like if you think about it, like you were saying with your father when you first came in, like they used to share log up PC and share the workstation, and then you kind of evolved and changed everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally getting our first internet connections, and then having email and all that in the very beginning, and then all the way into where we're at now, and so. What I would like to see, like, how do you think working with, and I'm not sure if you work with any other type of customers that are in the event base or kind of surrounding or supporting, but where do you see like that influence, like back to you, like, because like you said, we've grown over the years, and what I love is like, why I think we also get along so well is that we both have enthusiasm for what we do. We both love it. But also like when you come to me and you say, look, we have this new technology that's going to be it. And that's why I never want to say no, because you're excited about it. It makes me excited about it. And I know it's going to make a better company out of us. So on the reverse side, what do you see on the event side that really inspires you and kind of helps you grow, or helps you have grown over the years?
Right. Well, we have a couple other companies. I mean, we specialize in different verticals, and we're much in a very compliant. So it kind of helps you, even though you don't have the compliance, but we have all that security, right?
Right.
So that inspires me on the security side. So like and now that you're thinking more and more about security, like I got that already, and I even showed you that when we came onto the platform that you're on today. But what inspires me is like, for example, what you went through in this last almost 2 years, is seeing you reinvent yourself to get past this pandemic, and seeing other companies, like we have another companies in plastics, right? Same problems. We're going to be ready to close down, reinvented themselves, starting making the plastic shields. Those type of people who can pivot are the ones who are succeed. And that's what's like, okay, they called me up. All of a sudden they needed to pivot, right? And they needed to take 1,000 phone calls. Like, how could they do that? So no problem. Okay, we put in a phone system. Not a phone system, but they already had it. But we put in an answering service that could take it. You could leave the order. And then, because they didn't have the staffing to be able to take it and answer it on the fly.
Right.
That's why I love what I do, because what I'm hoping in this next year, get through this, is because I go out 3-4 times a year to events and shows. Because like I said, like you always take on the newest technology, because I want to be there when you get into a problem. Right. I want to say, I got the answer for you.
Right.
So those are helping those people in your industry. So even in today's world, when you're doing events in different locations, right, their security and infrastructure is changing also. So sometimes you land there and you can't get to your infrastructure because they're blocking it.
Right.
So the most important thing is understanding in your industry, like when these events happen and people are traveling, it might not be your provider that is down. It could be the preventer location that's actually blocking things to prevent their security issues.
Right.
And a lot of people think, oh, it's my IT company. It's not the IT company. It's the other stuff that goes on in the background to secure places. So I would tell people to look out for that.
Yeah. So like, and I know sometimes when you try to get onto apps and things that, like if you're in an airport, it's telling you don't do that. Don't do that. So no, it totally. So when you talk about, you said you attend trade shows, and it's funny because that's being my world. And when you say I like to be the guy that has the answer when you're looking for something. It's like that's pretty much how we live our life. You know, they have something that need to be solved, and we need a solution. So
Yep.
that's what we do. So what are some of the newer things that have you excited these days? Like what's something exciting that makes you excited to get out of bed in the morning? What's next for nerd support?
Well, the like one of the biggest things what's exciting. So like we spoke about this, and I think it will be changing too. Definitely, there's nothing like human interaction that we're having today. I
Right.
like today being here and being around the people. It's like I even got goosebumps, being around people again. And we have to get past this fear and just get the shot or whatever we need to do to be able to do that. But what is really exciting is getting the way that everybody realizes now there is not just one cloud, you know, and how you can build different clouds to talk to each other. That is the exciting part. So in our staff, we've actually brought DevOps in. And so that's helping us being able to get from things talking to each other and even at the ask point part of being able to see data. Because realistically, the computers and all that stuff is nowhere as costly as the
Mhm.
loss of the data. So
Right.
the other passionate thing is also protecting the data.
Yeah.
That is the most, like, I'm always looking at, is there a better way to protect it? Is there an easier way to get people accessing the data? Can we secure it that they can only access that data from one location? Those type of security things, like, oh, I know it's kind of boring, but that's exciting.
It's funny because I was gonna say, like, thank God for people like you that get excited about that because it's like when you think about IT and tech, like that's not the sexy side. That's not the fun side. Everyone wants to talk about AR, VR, all these experiences and everything like that you can do with technology, but even to that level, let's say you're having an event, you have a ton of like augmented reality, all this stuff, but if your security is not on point, your whole event could be down the tube just because of corruption. So yeah, it's funny how a lot of times we back burner that security side, or go for the bare minimum when it's like it's so crucial. And it's funny because it's almost the same as a live event, just not having security guards at the door. You know, anybody could come in, anybody can wander in. No one's checking badges. You just get right in, and anybody could disrupt an event. So it's kind of
I love that. You know what that is that you just transcribe what I try to explain in security. I'm gonna
yeah,
use that.
yeah. There
Why do
you
you
go.
need security? But that's the other thing is that so you put on an event, right? And if there's a breach and there's a data breach or loss or something for that event or something was compromised, who are they going to look after, right?
Right.
First off, they're going to go to you, right? They're going to say, okay, so why didn't Expo spend the money on the technology, right?
Right.
That's the first thing they're going to do, right? So then they're going to go to the technology company and say, what did they do?
Right.
And that's where the thing is unfortunately in our industry, that's the scary part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in our industry. Believe it or not, Richard, what I would tell people is to make sure that the companies that they're working with have the experience and also can prove the experience. Like I know we talk about like not the sexy thing, like we're a SOC 2 compliant
Right,
company, and that might not mean a lot of things. Well, that means that actually we have people come in and audit our business process and security to make sure that you can sleep at night.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the biggest factor.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's been within the last 5 to 7 years has been like with all the GDPR protection and everybody, making sure that their data is not leaked or accessed. That's we're held accountable if that gets out. So, and like you said, what are we doing about that? Well, we hire you because we know that you're doing the right thing about it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And a funny note there, and the second thing is also, believe it or not, the majority, the reasons why I think, in 17 years that we've been together, we've never had any major incidents. And I think it's because we educate, we talk to each other. And the other thing is, like, anytime your team knows that if they're not sure, just send it to support and they can get it taken care of. That's the type of stuff that you need to make sure that your team is not, they don't just click on anything.
Yeah.
Because the most vulnerability actually walk on 2 feet.
Yeah, that's true. Human error.
Human error.
Human error is we see that a lot. You can put as many processes as you want in place, but the people still have to make functions happen. So, and to go back to what you said earlier about human interaction, and that's why for me when I do this podcast, it's important that you notice I don't do any on Zoom. I don't do any, through online, because, the whole point of this is, my livelihood, my company's livelihood is live events industry. So it's very important to me to have that face to face, because of that's what our whole industry is built off of, face to face. And, fortunately for us, the metrics have shown that, the web events can't even hold a candle to the in-person events on the level of building trust and relationships, even sales numbers in general,
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah. And so what are some of the 2022 events that you would be attending?
Well, there's one by the channel company that's put on. There's one that's a security event that's usually happens in July. So far, it's still on the map to be there.
Yeah.
And then there is one where like it's just all different vendors, and for like our industry, the managed IT and managed security companies. And what's cool is that like they bring in hackers. They actually test our knowledge and our skills and kind of see like do we disconnect to the local Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah,
Believe it or not, you'd be surprised how many IT people actually connect to local Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So those type of events are the game changers for us. And then the other thing is like I can tell you the reason why there'll be nothing like in person, because when people go, they go with an objective and a task, and they're solely focused. Let's admit, Americans have very short attention span, and there's too many distractions around us. So what happens is you go to the event that's online, right? And you go there, and all of a sudden now the doorbell rings because your Amazon package is there or something like that. And you don't feel like you're committed.
Yeah. Or you get a text and
you're not committed. Like when you land at an event, you're committed because you're there for a reason. You're there for an outcome.
Very true.
Okay.
Yeah.
But online, that can help some things, but it's nothing like that. I won't take away from like business meetings Zoom.
Yeah.
That can help
for
brainstorming and stuff. But when you really need to get true business done, I don't think it will be done. We can get away from this human interaction, and we're humans. We need to be around people.
Yeah, definitely. And the peer-to-peer learning experience that you get just from social interaction and conversation. So, but definitely. Well, my friend, I am really excited for you to come in and be able to share a little bit about what you've been doing for us and what you can do for other people. How do people contact you?
Well, they can visit our website, Nerds Support. It's 2 S's in the middle.com. That's NERDSSUPPORT.com. Just go on there and fill out a contact form, or you can even schedule a 15-minute meeting with me if you'd like to. Just even you have questions, like if you're concerned, or the other thing is we always tell everybody in today's world when we're looking at our health, we sometimes we always look for a second opinion.
Right.
So if you ever doubt that your health is not right, or your network or security, we have a network security assessment that we're offered to anybody who comes from, and they mention Behind the Drapes. We'll give that free assessment to them.
Great.
That's like a $2,000 cost to do that, to go into a business, but we'll give that to them if they mention that they came from this podcast. But
great. I'll put that
it's
link.
Exciting.
I'll put the link in the description as well. And for the people that don't type in websites, any type of social media out there that you have?
Yes. Oh boy, you're asking. See, the problem is I'm not the social guy. I have it's funny. So everybody says I'm so technology driven and stuff, but it's funny when you talk about like that. You can visit us on Nerds, like on our Nerds board. Or you can look on LinkedIn. We are on social. If you go to Instagram, you go to Nerd Support. We're there. It's Nerd Support.
2 S's.
Yes, 2 S's in the middle, because I'm not one nerd. We're a team of nerds.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to Expo Convention Contractors for our studio. And with that,